it's your old pal Nautilus here. Now, I've heard that some of you are strung out waiting for season 2 to finally arrive. Right now, it looks like it's gonna be a year-end release. I mean, as far as the best thing we can hope for, but no matter how you slice it, this is gonna be a wait. Now, I've gotten a lot of requests for alternative shows to watch during these dark days. People asking for something new to watch that might scratch the same itches that Severance scratches. Say less, innies, I see what ails you, and I've got the cure. I've got a steaming hot pile of shows to keep you busy until our special day arrives. Okay, so here's the plan. I'll name the shows in no particular order, give you a quick but spoiler-free summary, as spoiler-free as I can, while still giving you the premise of the show, and I'll explain why the show is good and how it matches up with Severance, where it tends to rhyme. After that, it's up to you. So that's the criteria that we're gonna work with. Any show that I've had the privilege of watching that I would recommend that also rhymes with Severance in theme, tone, writing, plot, etc., or some combination thereof. So before we begin, big shout out to the patrons. These fine individuals have chosen to support the channel directly, and I appreciate every single one of you. Check the link if that sounds like something you want to do. There's also a link to the Discord that I haven't visited in a hot minute, but I hear there are some nice people over there. All right, channel promo is out of the way. Let's dive. So we're going to start this off by looking at the shows that are more obvious comparisons, and then we're going to move on to the ones that are a little more obscure, the ones that are a little more niche. To start things off, we're going to start with the most obvious comparison, and that's Lost. You may have heard of it, but this show definitely scratches the same mystery itches that Severance does. So here's the deal. Oceanic Flight 815 crashes on a whacked out island. A bunch of strangers gotta team up to survive. This island's got some serious secrets, the kind that make you question everything you thought you knew about reality. Smoke monsters, hatches, polar bears, oh my. The script will keep your head spinning and the cliffhangers are masterfully done. You won't be able to resist. Lost pops up as a good comparison when you think of shows like Severance, and for good reason. Both are shrouded in mystery, the kind that keeps you guessing until the very end. Seriously though, how did Lost even make it to 6 seasons? There ought to be a show about the making of Lost, really, because it was that insane. Part of the mystery of this show is baked into this hidden reality device in the script. What's Lost like? So in Lost, the survivors are stuck on this island with unexplainable things happening all around them. The more they explore, the weirder things get, and the questions just keep piling up, but they do get answers. That said, what really carries the show is the characters are well written, complex, and easy to get emotionally invested into. That should sound familiar. Just like Lumen's innies with their severed memories, Lost survivors grapple with a reality that doesn't quite fit. In both cases, you're thrown into this sort of mind-bending mystery that makes you doubt everything, and I mean everything, and let me tell you, it's addictive. Now, the ending of Lost, the elephant in the room as it were, that's a whole other can of worms. Some fans argue that the destination wasn't worth the journey. In other words, the ending was at best mid. I'm willing to concede that this might be true, but the characters are the story. The mind-bending I mentioned earlier, the plot twist, it's all definitely worth the ride. Plus, the performances are unforgettable. There are many performances in this show that I will never forget for the rest of my life. Say what you will about the ending. Now, where it differs is that Lost leans more into the supernatural with the aforementioned smoke monsters and whatnot. Severance feels more grounded in a techie sci-fi sort of world, at least for now. So don't go into Lost expecting spaceships and laser beams. You won't even get a finger trap. Oh, and Lost has a much bigger cast. But despite that, they managed to develop all of these characters pretty darn well, which is no small feat for such a hefty roster and a plot-driven script. If you were feeling Severance and want something a little different but still has you saying one more episode as the sun begins to rise, Lost might be your bag. Next up on the list is a very popular show that I am a big fan of, and it's Westworld. It ain't exactly Severance territory, but it hits a similar rootin' tootin' mystery vibe. Yes, I debated whether or not I would leave that line in. No regrets. Now imagine this, a Wild West saloon filled with lifelike androids, programmed to fulfill your every desire. No law, no judge, just pure Wild West fantasy. That's Westworld. At least on the surface. Beneath the surface, things are quickly getting out of pocket. These android hosts are starting to think for themselves and asking pertinent questions. Next thing you know, robot rebellion. Dolores, a farm girl, and Maeve, a saloon madam, lead the charge against these corporate overlords. Westworld's got the mind-bending thing down and it explores the lines between human and machine and what it truly means to be free. On the surface, that's how it matches up with Severance. Despite being very different in its scenery, they share some surprising DNA. Both shows have characters that are stuck in worlds that aren't quite what they seem. Both of these shows ask those heady questions about free will and what makes something truly alive, what is sentience, and the idea of freedom. Westworld dives straight into the idea of artificial consciousness with its fancy androids, while Severance explores similar themes with severed innies. And let's not forget the dangers of big corporations that put the cap in capitalism. In Westworld, a shadowy corporation controls the park in very much the same way that Lumen keeps a tight leash on its employees. Both of these shows drip feed you clues and mysteries, keeping you glued to the screen as the characters unravel the truth about their being stuck with the bad ending. The biggest differences? Well, Westworld's innies are, well, not exactly in anywhere. And let's just say things get a tad more violent out there in the West. Severance sticks to the creepy office vibe, going for more psychological thrills rather than grisly shootouts. All right, moving on to the next show. Now, this show is another show that has a massive cult following while still being somewhat of a niche interest, and that's Mr. Robot. He's a cybersecurity engineer and a coding wizard. But by night, Elliot Elderson is a vigilante hacker, a sort of digital Robin Hood with a serious case of the blues. Of course, I'm being a bit facetious, but he's talented for sure. Also clinically depressed, antisocial, and itching to break the system. Sounds like my kind of guy. Enter Mr. Robot, a shadowy anarchist who recruits Elliot into F Society, a hacking group on a mission to dismantle a global corporation. You should be noticing a pattern at this point. Elliot's world explodes, torn between the corporate obligations to his career and the burgeoning rebellious spirit that lies underneath. Elliot's got to choose a side while he's doing his best to maintain a tenuous grip on reality as his inner world continues to spin off its axis. Mr. Robot tackles mental health, good on them for even attempting to do that, corporate greed, and of course, the age-old fight against the man, digitally of course. Well, don't be fooled by the vibes. Mr. Robot ventures into much of the same territory treaded by Severance. How are they similar? So for one thing, we've got the unreliable narrator. Both Mr. Robot and Severance mess with your head in the best ways possible. In Mr. Robot, you've got Elliot, a hacker with serious mental health struggles. In Severance, it's the innies that we have to question. Their memories are chopped up like last night's leftovers. So just like Elliot, you're constantly wondering what's real and what's just messed up stuff inside their heads. Both shows tackle the dangers of big corporations running things. In Mr. Robot, F Society fights back against a global corporation with some seriously shady practices. Severance's Lumen is a different kind of creepy, controlling your work life with memory severance. Both shows make you think twice about the power corporations hold and how they can manipulate us digitally or otherwise. Mr. Robot is dark and action-packed. Severance is a little more clinical, but they both keep you guessing until the very end. Alright, so the next one up is one that you may not have heard of, but if you're a sci-fi freak, I'm raising my hand here, then you know about Maniac. Two delusional souls, Annie and Owen, sign up for this pharmaceutical trial that promises to fix their problems permanently. So it's like, think wild drug trips that blur lines between fantasy and reality, like a bad hangover mixed with a fever dream. Will they conquer their inner demons, or will this trial break them for good? That's the ultimate question being asked here. This is a dark comedy with a sci-fi twist that dives into things like addiction, escapism, feeling like an outsider. It's like the innies in Severance with their memory blackouts. The drug trials in Maniac make you question the character's mental states and what's truly happening. Is it real or just a drug-induced hallucination? So what else do they have in common? Well, even though they both deal with serious themes, both shows use dark humor to explore the bizarre situations the characters find themselves in. Basically, you fall down the rabbit hole, but you laugh all the way. Moving on to another show that is so obscure, yet so good that it's criminal in my opinion. Meet Heidi. She's a social worker at a seemingly wholesome veteran center. She's there to help soldiers adjust to civilian life, but something feels off about this place. When Heidi can't remember what's happening during her time at work, alarm bells start to ring. She dives headfirst into this relentless pursuit of the truth, uncovering a conspiracy that throws both her past and present into question. This is a psychological thriller that explores memory manipulation. Now, it does connect to Severance in a few more ways. Both shows are like puzzle boxes, so there's lots of mystery and psychological twists. Both of them explore the concept of hidden reality in a different way. The workplace vibes are similar. I have to say, the workplace vibes are very similar. So Homecoming takes place at a seemingly normal center. The weirdness creeps in very slowly, making you wonder what's really going on. Whereas Severance throws you right into this environment, highlighting the manipulative nature of the work from the jump. I would say that's the biggest difference. And you'll be guessing what's really going on the entire time. And so for the last show on this list, and believe me, there are a lot more shows I could mention, and I would love to make more videos like this one if you guys are interested in that. But for the last one for this video is Constellation, a show that I recently just finished, and I cannot tell you how much I love this show. Props to the writers, man, because this had to be insane to write. So Constellation is about a character named Jo. She's looking for signs that we're not alone in the universe, but she's haunted by a past tragedy, keeping her pretty isolated. Anyway, Jo gets tangled up in a government cover-up. This has a very crazy plot, but it's so well done. And like I said, I have to give him props because I can't imagine writing something like this. This had to be very hard to write and get it right. Constellation is a sci-fi whodunit with a hefty dose of drama, exploring grief. It explores resilience and, again, that human need for connection. A very, very salient point in this time. So how does this connect to Severance, you might ask? Well, both shows are elaborate escape rooms full of mysteries that unfold piece by piece, and they keep you glued to the screen trying to solve the puzzle. And that is the most simplistic way I can explain it. So there are a few other things they have in common. Again, we go back to the unreliable narrator, which is one of my favorite things in stories. In Severance, we have the innies with their fragmented memories, so you can't really trust everything that they perceive because they are kind of like children. Constellation, it's Jo herself. She's the one who's sort of fragmented. She's haunted by past trauma, her perspectives skewed to the extreme, and you can't necessarily trust what she sees. While Severance dives into the psychological effects of memory manipulation at work, Constellation explores grief, memory, and the human desire for connection. Again, both shows feature characters grappling with isolation as a sense of lost identity. This is key to Mark's character. He's cut himself off from the outside world, and that character Jo has done something similar. So they both have to confront who they are throughout the story. All right, so that's it for this one. That is what, 6 shows? I don't know how many I did. I have more I can add that I would definitely love to suggest if you guys are interested in seeing that. If you like this video, you already know what to do. If you want more people to find out about this channel, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, something of that sort will help because I'm trying to spread like a disease. Have a good one. Be safe, take care of yourselves. Until next time, off you go.